Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. I understand we have about 900 people on this webinar, and I want to welcome you all to our webinar on Move Ahead with Adult Ed. I'm Pat Tyler. I'm the Executive Director of the National Association of State Directors of Adult Ed, better known as NASDA. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about this campaign. This is going to be some free tools for use in state offices or local programs to help you reach out to your potential students and your partner organizations that serve the same population. The motivation for creating this campaign came from requests that we were hearing from state directors and local program providers. COABE and NASDA both were hearing that, enrollment's down, people don't know if we're open or not. They don't know that we have virtual options as well as some hybrid or face-to-face. So we decided that we would join together and provide you some free tools that you can use to help to get the word out. And with that, I want to turn it over to my partner, Sharon Bonney at COABE.
Thanks so much, Pat. And we are just really delighted to be partnering with NASDA. And we know we really hope this will be beneficial for the field. I want to take a moment here to introduce the others that are on the line besides Pat and I. So we have Dr. Don Finn, who's the president of COABE. We have Cheryl Hart, the Deputy Associate Superintendent for Arizona Department of Education. She's also the chair of the State Directors of Adult Education. Cheryl, if you want to turn on your video so we can see you. Alex Harris, he's the State Director for Adult Education and Literacy for Iowa Department of Education, and John Anderson, Program Specialist for South Dakota Department of Labor and Regulation. And these are really the folks who are sort of behind the scenes working with full capacity marketing. And I just want to say a few words also about full capacity marketing. Those of you who have worked with us on the Educate and Elevate campaign know what a success that was and what a wonderful tool that was for the field in order to stave off funding cuts. Well, we're working with the same firm that helped us with that. So I'm going to introduce Selena Shands, who is a CEO here in just a minute, but we're super excited about working with them again, and we really feel this will be valuable to the field. So while we're at it, let's take a few minutes here to introduce yourself in the chat box and give us the #1 challenge that you're facing in terms of recruiting adult learners during COVID-19. So I'll give you just a quick minute to do that as others are getting on. Introduce yourself and give us the #1 challenge that you're facing in terms of recruiting adult learners during COVID-19. And now, while you're doing that, I'm going to turn this over to Selena Shands. Selena, it's just been a joy and a pleasure working with you and your team on this. We really appreciate all the work you put into bringing this to life for us. And I'm going to turn this over to you now. Thank you.
Oh, thanks so much, Sharon and Pat. I mean, it's always a joy to work with you guys. And we love working with you because you're always on the cutting edge. You have your pulse in the field and what your members really need. And we hope this toolkit really satisfies one of our most immediate needs around the pandemic, and that is really bolstering up enrollments and recruiting adult learners into your wonderful program. So we're going to do 3 quick things today. We're going to talk about why COVID-19 pandemic requires a new engagement lens. It's not business as usual anymore for any of us. And so we'll give a little update on that. I'm going to talk a lot about why you need engaging messages for recruitment and how to actually develop them. So you'll see what we did in the toolkit. And then the toolkit assets, which again, Pat and Sharon mentioned, are free and downloadable on the website, which will give you the URL as well. So if we take it into the next slide, Sharon, go ahead and pull up that little grid as well. We asked on the left-hand side are things that we at Full Capacity Marketing are hearing from the field. On the right-hand side, in terms of COVID challenges, on the right-hand side, this is a very interesting study that was survey of 2,500 prospective adult learners on whether COVID had altered their interest in post-secondary education. What's their interest level? And it was interesting because among those, particularly adults had, when you look at recessions and what tends to happen, you tend to see an uptick, right, in enrollments. But COVID seems to be playing out a little bit different. And the respondents were actually divided into 3 categories. Committed respondents, prospects who said those that will definitely or probably enroll, hesitant prospects, those that were extremely or very interested if time and money were no object. And then the third were skeptical prospects, those who would be somewhat or slightly interested if time and money were no object. And figure one, when you look at that figure there on the right-hand side, it suggests that while overall demand is steady, the ratio of deeper interest, committed prospects have actually declined while the skeptical cohort has increased. And we know with the populations that we work with, the vulnerable populations are really hard to reach. And it's also other things unable to reach students who did not transition to online. And then just slow response to our traditional enrollment marketing efforts. So the toolkit is set up to help you sort of overcome some of these challenges. And on this next slide here, we're going to give you a download link, which is up at the top, that will help you get to all of these wonderful tools that have been developed. And I'm going to roll through each of these pretty quickly because they are online, but I wanted to give you a little bit more in-depth insight into why we developed them and how they were constructed. Also know that they're all editable. So if you think you have a different message that would work in your particular area, by all means, you can go in and edit. So the first is the fact sheet. And the fact sheet, these can be used for things like posting on your website. We're trying to create a movement here around adult ed, right? And really showing the value of it. So all of these tools are created for the adult learner. And the way you set up a really great message is to help articulate the challenge the adult learner has, the call to action, and then the benefit they will receive if they participate with your organization. So when you go through here, you'll see that we have the challenges set up for you in the top left. If COVID-19 pandemic has left you without a job, you're struggling to find work, etc., then, you know, here you insert your name of the organization is the place for you to be. So that whole thing kind of sets up the challenges, and then it's how can I move ahead with adult ed? And that gives you a place to promote what you are doing within your organization, what courses, classes, how do you want the adult learner to engage? So that is your call to action. And then instead of rattling off all the benefits, what we did is we created an infographic of key data points that would show the benefit of adult education. And you can see on the left-hand side there, there's a contact us. You can put a place for your website. And again, with the hashtag Move Ahead with Adult Ed. Now this is in a PDF format, but we've also added a Word document if you do not have Adobe Suite to go in and edit this in any format. So that's your fact sheet. We recommend sending it out as an e-blast, posting it on your website, and using it as what we call a tear sheet if you do happen to be out in the community, or posting it on a bulletin board. Okay, Sharon, next one is the news release. Because this is a movement around adult education, we highly recommend that you take this template and modify it for your organization to send to local media to get them interested in why your organization is so important in the community and what it is specifically you can do. So this is set up as a template, and you'll see the headline where you put the name of your organization joins the Moving Ahead with Adult Ed campaign, get adults back to school and work. And then the subtitle is Reskilling, Upskilling will help more move adults into family-sustaining jobs for economic recovery during the pandemic. We added that line because, as you know, the pandemic is all over the news. We're in the midst of an economic recovery, and you as adult learner, adult educators play a critical role in that. So the media needs to know this. So this is ready-made for you. You just go in. There's even room for a quote from your leader, your leadership, and there you go, ready to go for the news media. Okay, now the next one is just web copy. And in your toolkit, what you're going to see is that little graphic at the top that says hashtag Move Ahead with Adult Ed. And we recommend that you take that graphic and put it right on your homepage with this byline. So the name of your organization is a proud partner in this campaign. It's about enrolling adult learners into career training programs, and it targets the millions of Americans who need reskill or upskill to enter the workforce. So again, it's just two things. It helps show the value proposition. It shows that you are a part of this campaign, right? And it lets adult learners know that they're in the right place. They're in the right place. So that's kind of like your little web copy. Then what we did, because social media is so prevalent right now, just in terms of the way you need to communicate, is we've created a whole list of graphical, like little infographics, photos, and hashtags that are trending right now. So you can pull that down, plug in the name of your organization, and just send them right on out there ready to go. And then the last thing we have here is, and we can probably send this over to Ivan. I want to, Sharon, while you're doing that, I introduce Ivan Frenner from our team, who is our creative director. He's been with us for 18 years and is just phenomenal, has a big passion for what you do as educators. And Ivan's going to walk us through right now a newsletter template. And the reason we did this, it's so important to have consistent communication during COVID. So we've created an inaugural e-newsletter around the campaign theme, and Ivan's going to walk you through it on how you can get that set up. And there are also instructions on the website as well. So Ivan, I'm going to turn it over to you so you can share your screen and walk them through it.
Absolutely. Welcome, everyone. And I think I have a little bit of a reverb. There we go. Absolutely. Well, welcome everyone. And I'm going to do a quick walkthrough on how easy it is to use the e-newsletter template, right? Whether you're using Constant Contact or Mailchimp. I'm starting to start my video, but I think I need permission to start the video. If you can quickly give me access to that. So what we did is we made it very simple for everyone to just get started on this. And right now I'm going to do a walkthrough. So in the toolkit that everybody has, you will see that there is a folder called Newsletter Template, right? And in the Newsletter Template, there's a couple of files. There's 2 folders for Constant Contact and 1 for Mailchimp. So those are your go-to industry standards for email, for setting up email campaigns. Some of you might already be familiar with it. I'll do a walkthrough on one of those, which is Constant Contact. But both of them are pretty much identical. So in here, I have this link below will send you to a prototype of the newsletter. So this is a prototype. If you click on this, and can everybody see my screen? Yes? Yes. So right here, you see a prototype of what this is going to look like. And you see it has the branding. It has the colors. It already has the infographic there for you as a graphic, so you don't need to type it or do anything to it. It already has imagery and headers, logos, etc. You will be able to insert your own links for social media. So that means that these social media icons, you're going to be able to redirect them to your own social media. And this is what it would look like, more or less, so you can see exactly. I'm going to go back to the toolkit, and here in the toolkit is again a PNG of how it's going to look like. So that way you have a reference on more or less how it should look like. If it doesn't look like this, you can always reference this document. So say I'm ready to go. I'm excited. I want to use this right away. So I have Constant Contact and Mailchimp with clear. We wrote up clear instructions for everyone. I'm going to do Constant Contact because most people use Constant Contact, although Mailchimp is a great alternative as well. But most people use Constant Contact. However, the process that I'm using for Constant Contact is completely identical to Mailchimp. So I'm going to double click on the Constant Contact folder. And here I have 3 things. I have my Constant Contact instructions, the code that I need to simply copy and paste. So no need for coding. I teach designers, and sometimes when I tell designers the word code, everybody runs for the hills. But in this case, all we're doing is a simple copy paste of the code. We already wrote the code for you. And then here are assets. So here also, in addition to all this wonderful things that we prepared for you, you also have assets here that you're using on the email newsletter that you could probably use for other things if you wish. We have the infographic, you have the imagery, and the headers. So here, I'm ready to go. I want to do Constant Contact. So if I open here, you see that we've laid out instructions for you. Now, I'm not going to read you the instructions because I'm going to visually walk you through what to do. You can always reference this document as a guide to just repeat what I'm doing for you right now, right? So obviously we're going to open Constant Contact. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Constant Contact and I'm going to log in. And I'm simply going to log in. Boom, here we go. I'm logging in. And here I am, no thanks, right? And then right here, I'm gonna go to create. Everybody will see this screen. Mailchimp will be almost identical. I mean, probably about 89% identical. So I'm gonna hit create. And here's gonna say email, all these wonderful things that it provides. Very simple, we're gonna keep it to email. So I'm gonna click on email right here. And it's gonna say all these wonderful templates. Now pay attention to the top. I'm just going to turn on my spotlight here so everybody can follow me better. So right here, we don't want to pay attention to this. However, we want to go to the top right. And right here, it says custom code. And I'm going to hit custom code. And all I do is, remember in the toolkit right here, we have the instructions and then we have newsletter code. So if I look at here, all I have to do is simply copy and paste this line of code into Constant Contact. And again, I'm going to show you how to do it. And everything's in the instructions. So the first thing that the instruction says is, in number 6, you see delete the following from the editor, right? So I'm here back in Constant Contact. I'm hitting the editor. In fact, I'm going to start over right here. Create, email, custom code. I want to simply delete this text that's here. And I'm going to just copy and paste the text that is in the toolkit, which is right here, this here. Simply copy and paste that into the editor. Now, immediately, if I turn on to a live preview, there's on the top right, there's a button that says live preview. You'll see here, boom, there it is. It's ready to go, right? So now I can edit the text as I want to. I can add links as I want to, etc. Right? So here I see the text. I can replace the text. So for example, if I scroll down here, I can see that here is a paragraph of text, and I can simply edit it here if I wish. So I can type here, for example, great training. And it's going to update it right here. It's that easy, or I can just update in the editor. So that's it. Once I paste the code in here, I'm ready to go. So at this point, I can hit save or continue. And once I hit continue, I can set up my subject, name, addresses, etc. And that's it. I'm ready to go.
Thank you, Ivan. That's so great. And I just want to add, if you guys do not have Constant Contact and Mailchimp and you're not set up to do this type of marketing, but you have email addresses of your adult learner, what I would recommend is just take the little header with the hashtag, right? And just send that at the top of an email. Just put that in and then just type your email. But it's really important to stay in touch with your adult learners. What is going on within your organization, what you're offering. You really want them to know that you're open for business, you've been open for business, you're ready to serve them, and you know, you're there for them. Having those encouraging messages are really important. Hopefully that's helpful. If you have any questions, put them in the chat box, and Sharon will turn it back to you. Thank you, Ivan.
Yes, thank you so much. That was super helpful. And I really appreciated seeing you walk through those steps. To all of you who are on this webinar, we are recording this. We are going to share this out just as an automatic through Zoom. Everybody who's even signed up, even those that weren't able to attend because we only had 500 seats and there was over 900 people who signed up. So everybody who registered will receive a copy of this webinar. But then I also just wanted to take a moment here to turn this over to two administrators that we have here. So Scott Schneider, the Dean of Adult Education for Eastern Iowa Community College District. And then after Scott, we're going to hear from Wendy Shader-Black, the Acting Director of Adult Education for Pima Community College. So Scott, I'm going to turn this over to you. We'd love to hear from you about your thoughts about these tools.
Thank you very much, Sharon, and the rest of the leadership that has that are moving us in this direction. I think this is very exciting. There's lots to be excited about here. Lots of opportunity for us to enhance how we communicate, not only with our current students, but with our prospective students. You know, as adult education practitioners, we know that adult learners have a lot of different needs. And with this whole COVID experience, there's a whole next level of needs that we have to serve to make sure that we are reassuring our students that, like was said, we're open for business and we're ready to serve them. And so this type of toolkit packet, I think, is just absolutely fantastic for us because it provides us that professional look to a marketing campaign. There's a consistent message that goes along with it. Essentially that, yes, we are open for business, you know, and we can start to communicate with these folks that are hesitant about coming back to our buildings or don't even know that our buildings are open again. You know, we've made adjustments for the new normal, whatever that happens to be, but do our students know that we've made those adjustments? And are those adjustments things that they're comfortable with? And if they're not comfortable coming into our buildings, what other options do they have? And I think, you know, those are the questions that are looming with all of our adult learners. And it really boils down to us being able to communicate to them what this new normal looks like, because it looks different for different programs. It looks different for different organizations. So we have to communicate that first and foremost, we're open for business. And even if our buildings aren't, some of us haven't reopened our buildings yet, but we still are serving and providing those wraparound services to all of our students. We offer options. And what do those options look like and how do they impact the individual? If we offer an online option, and I'm not really proficient in online access, then what are my options to continue my education when I'm not comfortable being physically in the building and yet I'm not comfortable with the online options? And so having the newsletter, having the news release and all of these other things helps us to put a message out to our communities that says, yes, we're here, yes, we care, yes, we have taken measures to keep you healthy and safe, and yes, it's okay to come back to us and engage in the learning process once again.
Great. Thank you so much, Scott. We really appreciate your insight on that. And I wanted to now turn it over to Wendy Shader-Black for her thoughts as well. Wendy?
Thanks, Sharon. Scott, I like what you said, that one of our needs right now is to communicate what this new normal is inside of our adult education programs. I mean, this is, I think, the case for all of us everywhere. We have that same situation right now that we're facing. And this campaign is so exciting, and this toolkit is really powerful. I have a lot of ideas already of how we can use it inside of our context. Just a little bit about our context and see if it's similar to any of yours out there. We are a really large program, a pretty large program. In Tucson, we serve usually about 5,000 to 6,000 students a year. But there are over 70,000 students or adults in Pima County without high school diplomas. And so in normal times, we're really still serving only a fraction of the adults in our community that we would like to reach. So we could use this kind of help with media and outreach all the time. But like we've been talking about this morning, I think much more is needed right now. Typically in times of high unemployment, we'll see a surge in enrollment, but we're not seeing that surge right now. In fact, we're seeing decline in our enrollments. And I could see in the chat this morning that the majority of people responding are saying the same thing. And we know it's due to a multitude of different reasons. So someone wrote this morning in there that the students feel unsure of job stability, and they are helping their children in school at home So they put their own education on the back burner. I think that is a story we have all heard many times with our own student populations. So I think we also are seeing challenges with students who lack internet access or don't have a computer, and they think that they can't enroll, not knowing that we could actually help them access both. And then there are people that just don't know about us yet. So I think what is clear overall is that amidst this pandemic crisis, there's really a growing urgency to raise awareness about our program and to help adults in our community know that we are open, like you said, Scott, and that we can help them find resources to come back and study with us. And even, access IET programs that we have to reskill, upskill, or step into new opportunities. So what's great about this campaign and this toolkit is that they're not only beautiful tools, but they're really full of relevant data and they're customizable. I love that part. So in our own local context, that like for that flyer that they were showing a couple of minutes ago, the header says, get the skills you need to get back to work. That has a focus on training opportunities for our students. And it's perfect for us because we're launching a number of IET programs this year. So I'm really excited to use that tool as a broad outreach and recruitment tool for those programs. I'm also thinking about how we can bring Move Ahead with Adult Ed campaign to our local workforce investment board. I'm thinking about how we would supplement a presentation to the board with data available in these tools, and then have these tools ready, they're in hand to share with all of the members and their networks. I love that these are just ready to go today. I think that is it's just so exciting. And it's a huge benefit to our local programs. We don't have to invest an enormous amount of time and resources to develop our own. A couple more things I wanted to add. I was just chewing on some ideas of how we can use these tools in our context further. And I'm thinking about pairing, in this campaign initiative, like using the messaging and the tools to really make our campaign customized and to ask our students the question, how has adult ed helped you move ahead? And then pair some of those student responses, maybe through recorded Zoom video, with these materials for greater impact. We can showcase that on social media, on our web, and at live presentations. I think we'll definitely use the bank of social media posts. We are in the process right now of planning Instagram and Facebook Live events. So we're just gonna fold this material right in. And I think overall, it's just really exciting to be able to have these customizable tools that we can adapt to our local context and use them right now. I love that we can focus on different areas of need, and have a diversity of different ways to reach our students. So I just want to send thanks as well for all of those who were involved in developing these tools, because I think they're a really powerful toolkit for our local programs to get some energy going and to get some consolidated information sharing among all of our partners. It's great.
Wendy, thank you so much. Really appreciate your thoughts there. And I'm hopeful that all of the attendees on this webinar also see the usefulness of this tool, this toolkit, and all of the different tools have been built out here for you. This is also a great way, since it's online and many of your programs are online, it's a great way to get the word out online, right? So we're excited about that as well. I wanted to see if Cheryl or Alex had anything that they'd like to say before we tie up this and let's check out the questions in the Q&A. So Cheryl.
Hi. First of all, I want to say thank you, Wendy. I really appreciated what you said, and I don't know if you recall, but back in July, during the business meeting, I told all of our providers that recruitment and outreach was going to be extremely important in this COVID, in this pandemic environment that we're in, due to record unemployment, and it could get worse, drastic changes in employment sectors that will continue. I really believe we will have a new population of people who need to reskill and upskill that never once considered having to go to adult ed, having to learn English, or needing a secondary diploma because maybe they've been in business for themselves and now they find that they've lost their business and they're in a completely different place. What I wasn't able to provide my programs with, other than the charge to consider recruitment and outreach as a priority, I wasn't able to provide them with the tools to do that. And so it's super exciting that COABE and NASDA have stepped up and have these really high quality, this high quality toolkit that is customizable. So I'm very excited about that, and I look forward to seeing the impact this can make to the communities in Arizona and across the country that really we really need to step up as a system and address what's going on in our community and the economic fallout that we're all going to be experiencing. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Very, very helpful. Alex, did you have any words you'd like to share?
Just a couple things to reiterate that I truly believe that our demographics has been certainly the hardest hit, and they deserve to know that our facilities and our instruction is safe and available in multiple methods. So the investment that our programs is putting in to make sure that hybrid and remote learning is available to our potential participants is critical. Having materials that's relatable, having materials that speak to our participants is very important. Having this available in multiple formats. The only thing that was missed was a TikTok video, I believe. So I think that this is great to be able to reach out to our potential students, our future and current participants. So really excited to see this rolled out at the state and at the local level. So again, thank you for pulling together the resources, giving the tools into the hands of the programs that need it, and letting them be able to move forward with this recruitment. Recruitment is a constant thing. It really is critical. And as Cheryl mentioned, there's going to be others that weren't able to or didn't know the resources that adult education has that we can now speak to. I think that Wendy also mentioned that many of them don't know that now we've invested in having devices, laptops, hotspots for our students, for them to be able to check out and lend. So this is going to be a great platform to be able to share that news with them. So again, this is great information.
Great, thank you so much, Alex. I was just looking through the Q&A here, and I wanted to address a couple questions that I saw come up. How do we suggest that these tools are used in terms of branding, campaign, and logos, and also whether they can modify the color scheme to match the organization's branding guidelines? From my standpoint, I have no issue with that. I think you should use these as you can. And we're looking to get the biggest push out possible so that as many adult learners as possible hear about this. Selena, did you have some words you wanted to share on that?
Yeah, I want to say that the campaign definitely does not replace your brand. It is, you're a proud partner of this campaign. If you feel changing the color scheme will help you in your local area, as Sharon said, by all means, we're just creating the movement here. So definitely feel free to tailor.
Great. And there's of course questions here about whether these are available in other languages such as Spanish and whatnot. They are not yet. We'll have to see if we can get some more funding to be able to do something like that. But at this point, it's only available in English. Also a question here about using Gov delivery for email campaigns. I'm not familiar with that. Selena, are you?
I am familiar with Gov delivery. I have not been in the back end. I'm assuming it's template based, so you should be able to cut and paste the code that Ivan gave you. I would try that first. Because I think they do have customized templates, which this is one. So that's what I would try.
Great. Okay, thank you. There's a question here about the sign-up form. So I just want to encourage you all, just use the sign-up form, regardless of if you're at a local program or at the state level, that will then redirect you to be able to download these materials. So hopefully that's helpful. Kind of big picture, one of the things that we're looking at too is being able to help from a broad lens of like if we're able to leverage some Google or Facebook or some ad space like that. So just so you're all aware, kind of under this campaign of Move Ahead with Adult Ed, there's some thinking that's been going on around that. So just sign up for this and we will do our best to help too at the national level to push this out. We do not have any campaign information yet in a billboard format. I do love that idea though. That's a great idea. I'll put the sign up form again in the chat box. So there's a question about mental health issues in the chat box. So I'll go back and check that out. I'm just trying to see if there's any other questions. And while I'm looking, Pat, would you like to say a few words before we finish out here?
Well, I'm delighted with the interest in these tools, obviously with the number of people that have decided to join us today and take their time to hear about the campaign. I think that the tools are probably something that everyone will need. And it was delightful to hear from Wendy and also from Scott that that they're so interested in these tools and that they see a real need for these. And this is what we were hearing. So, Sharon and I began to talk to other of our members and learned that this was a widespread need. So, so I think the tools look great, and I look forward to hearing from everyone on how they're working for you.
Great, thank you, Pat. I have found the question in the chat box regarding mental health. And so the question was, will COABE offer any PD for trauma or the other psychology behind adult learners during this epidemic? As we can tell around us, there's a lack of mental health care and many people aren't handling it well, which with our adult learners, we need to be able to recognize certain symptoms of mental instability and know how to react to them. So to answer your question, I think that's a great idea. We can certainly look into additional professional development in that area. This particular campaign, of course, is more like a marketing effort. So for this webinar, we're going to stay focused on that. But I just want to thank Anna for bringing this to our attention. We'll definitely look into that. So one last thing, I'm going to put the link one last time here in the in the chat box, and just encourage you all to sign up. If you run into an issue where you're not sure on a number, just put the number 1. I know there was a question or two about that, but from our standpoint, we just want to make sure you're able to access that. And again, this will be recorded. Everybody that has participated will receive the webinar recording, and those who also registered and weren't able to get on because we only had 500 seats. So we just want to thank you here. We want to remind you to sign up. We want to remind you that we're here for you. Move Ahead at Adult Education. So we're here, we're excited, and we are looking forward to the next step. So thank you all for joining us. Move Ahead with Adult Ed. Bye now.